This Paritta is not exactly a sutta, but it is developed from some suttas in Samyutta Nikaya, especially those deal with the Buddha visiting Mahakashyapa and Mahamoggalana when they were ill. And when Buddha himself fell ill, then he invited another Thera to recite this. So because of that, this has been prepared, and some of the verses are added later. So the prologue and epilogue has been added later. So let us recite it.
Is that supposed to be a protective chant against?
Yeah, against illness. And because it was recited whenever they were ill. When Buddha himself was ill, then he asked Chundathera to recite it. So that means something.
And maybe you could repeat the background that you explained to me, that the issue is not so much the words as the state of mind at the time of the Parittas.
The issue is that when we are reading it, it gives us a good, it gives us inspiration firstly, the beginning verses, and then when we recite, when we read it and listen, that the Bojjhangas, 7 Bojjhangas are there, and they are meant to, when we practice them, they will give us enlightenment, they will take us towards enlightenment. It gives us a joy, it brings us joy, and that joy really dispels the mental anguish which might be associated with the illness. Of course, we can't expect that arhants like Mahakashyapa or Mahamoggalana would be having any mental anguish because of illness. Yet, the Buddha goes and feels it like, because many times Buddha does things which are helpful for future times. This is probably one of those activities where he went there. Normally he would not go, but being such senior disciples, he personally went there and reminded them of 7 Bojjhangas and tell them. So when they reminded him, then it was immediate for them to catch. Immediately they were free from illness. So that instances have motivated people to see that there is a protective ability, so to say, in this verse, which is basically that it gives you a good state of mind, and therefore you are likely to be more capable of facing the illness. Because the most fundamental illness of going round this cycle of birth and death will be eliminated by these factors of enlightenment. So in that sense, if we see, we can see the merit of it. Good. Sansare samsarantanam sabbadukha vinasane sattadhamme cha bojjhange marasena pamandane. So the 7 kinds of Dhamma are the factors of enlightenment which destroy all sufferings of beings who wander through this samsara, rounds of birth and death, and defeat the army of Mara, the evil one. Bujjhitva ye chime satta tibhava mutta kuttama ajatim ajara vyadhim amatam nirbhayangata. So having realized these 7 Dhammas, these persons were liberated from 3 kinds of world. They have gone to Nibbana, where there is no birth, no decay, no sickness, deathlessness and fearlessness. Evamadi gunu petam aneka guna sangahan osadhan chaimam mantam bojjhangan cha bhanamahe. So let us recite these factors of enlightenment, endowed with such and other innumerable qualities. It is like a medicine and a mantra. Bojjhango sati sankhato dhammanang vichayo tatha viriyang piti passadhi bojjhanga cha tatha pare. These 7 factors of enlightenment, namely sati, dhamma vichaya, that is mindfulness, investigation of dhamma, virya or effort, priti or rapture, prashaddhi, tranquility, and 2 more which are samadhupekha bojjhanga sattete sabbadasina munina sammadakkhata bhavita bahurikita. So the other 2 are concentration and equanimity. These 7, well expounded by the all-seeing sage, are cultivated and practiced repeatedly. Sammavattanti abhinyaya nibbānāya ca bodhiya. आप भी करिए ना. Etena saccavajjena sottite hotu sambala. So that there is realization of higher wisdom, there is nibbana and enlightenment. By this true utterance may there be always happiness for you. Ekasmin samaye natho moggalanam cha kassapam gilane dukkhita tisva bojjhange sattadissai. At one time when the Lord saw Mahamoggallana and Kassapa being unwell and in pain, he preached these 7 factors of enlightenment. Te chatam abhinanditva roga muccim sutan khane etena saccavajjena sottite hotu sabbada. They rejoiced in the discourse and were freed from the disease at that very moment. By this true utterance, may there always be happiness to you. Ekada dhamma rajapi gelannena vipīlito chundatherena tammeva banāpetvāna sādaram. Once when the king of Dhamma himself was afflicted by illness, he had Venerable Chunda recite the discourse respectfully. Samoditvana abadha tamha buddhasithanaso etena saccavajjena sottite hotu sabbada. And having rejoiced, the Buddha at once rose up from illness. By this true utterance, may there always be happiness for you. Pahinate cha abadha tinnannampi mahesinam maggahatta kilesava pattanupatti dhammavatam etena saccavajjena sottite hotu sabbada. Eliminated forever were the diseases of the great 3 sages. Just as walking on the path destroys the defilements, bringing all that is to be attained in accordance with the Dhamma,